by David Howlett. Gets us underway for the second half. Scores dead level. Lawrence wins in the middle, but Liberatore sharks this one. Wallace off the side of the boot, up towards the 50. Hawkins back on the forward line. Ayres spoils him. The two skippers on each other now. Hawkins gets it going forward and applies the tackle on Mew. Might have been high. It comes to Coleman. Collingham hardly had a sniff in the first half, and Whitman beats him this time. Chris Whitman, injured pre-season, played 4 reserves games this year, but this is his first senior game for 92. Out to centre wing. Gowers over the top of Coleman, takes the mark. Good run by Allen. Little left footer down the boundary line. And Darren Jarman, while he's had 11 possessions, hasn't certainly been a star for the Hawks. Oh, Mew drops this mark. Grant in there to whip it away.
Oh, ridden into the ground.
In the back. The free kick's paid, but the advantage now goes. Kellett. Del Rey leads and marks.
Well, it was poor work centre of the ground there from Hawthorn. Chris Mew fumbling. Just allowing Chris Grant to get in there, applying good pressure. He got the free kick for a push in the back. Advantage paid. And into a very open Footscray forward line. Danny Del Rey well out in front of Chris Langford.
Chance to break the deadlock. Hawks led by 13 points at quarter time. Rather, the Bulldogs. The Hawks drew level by half time. And the kick is offline for a behind. And Footscray lead by that point.
There's a big opportunity there for Footscray. Danny Del Rey, usually a very reliable kick at goal.
Gary Ayres to bring the ball back. Had a spell in the centre in the second quarter. Now picking up Hawkins. Could have been holding the man there against WYND, but it comes forward. Footscray's Brian Royal, who sparked the doggies in the second quarter, kicks the ball to the centre. Glenn Coleman does well. Balks, dummies, and kicks long. That's what they've got to do with this win. Kick the ball long. Mew on the ground with Collingham. And the umpire, who have let the play go today, has finally said, "Give it to me, fellas, I'll ball it up."
Tony Hall and Jason Taylor on the bench for Hawthorn at the start of this third quarter. Peter Foster still on the bench. He went off injured in that first half, and we don't think we'll see him again in the rest of the match. For the rest of the match, Peter Foster, a big loss there too, Jared, playing at centre half back for Footscray.
Yes, we saw him get kicked in that right shin, so let's hope that isn't a break. One would suspect it may be, though otherwise you wouldn't think he'd go off. Anyhow, it's Glenn Coleman versus Mew. Mew gets the tap out, but pushes it straight towards Douglas Hawkins, who's swamped by Gary Ayres. Ayres handballs to the voice. The voice was Condon's, and he gives it to Platten. Platten, who had a fantastic first quarter, but a little quiet in the second, kicks the ball long and high, and it's taken by WYND. WYND kicks the ball to the centre, looking for Wallace. Big punch from Gowers there. Mops up Collins. Collins goes to Platten. Platten now kicks it wide, and Anderson, who started on the bench, has come on, and he takes his first kick for the afternoon. Punch there from Atkins. Atkins to McPherson, who's been good for Footscray all day. Liberatore had a fantastic second quarter. Gives the ball to Wallace. This is better from the Bulldogs. Baxter kicks it long into the forward line. It's Del Rey brings the ball to the ground. Here comes Douglas. Can you do your dancing act now, Dougie? No, you can't. Kellett to Collingham, who looks a little out of sorts. Whitman clears for the Hawks.
Punch forward, and it goes to Allen. He hand passes over the top of the pack. Collins for Hawthorn. The hand pass behind Condon. Has to go back and retrieve it. They're certainly not looking well oiled, the Hawks. Here's Collins. Support from Lawrence. Poor old kick into the breeze. Hunter drops the mark and then applies the tackle on Jarman. Dunstall out from full forward. Taps for Anderson. He goes over the top. Pritchard, a great hand pass to Jarman. Jarman runs into an open goal and from 8 metres kicks it. Hawthorn have hit the front.
It's one of the real class players playing AFL football, Darren Jarman. Always a danger man. And once the pace goes off a match, he really comes into his own, and on that occasion just racing into the forward line. He's got enormous skills and uses the ball well, both sides of his body.
So a 5-point lead now to Hawthorn. And Footscray take the ball out of the centre with the long bomb forward. Over the back was Delroy. Shark by Royal, who ships around the corner for an excellent goal. Ryan Royal puts Footscray into the lead. 6 goals, 8. 44, plays Hawthorn 6-7, 43.
Yes, Brian Royal has really proved a bonus since he came on into that forward pocket. Halfway through that second quarter for Footscray. He's kicked his second goal. Great play from Scotty Wynd in the middle, getting that tap down to Darren Baxter, straight down the ground, long kick, and the Rover did the rest.
Well, Footscray really need to get a roll on here. They need a 3 or 4 goal victory. Wynd wants 3 or 4 goal quarter, which would put them in front at 3-quarter time. Wynd just starting to dominate those centre bounces, Bernie.
And obviously looking for Darren Baxter on that occasion to the left of the pack with the hit out. First occasion he went to the right of the pack, and Footscray kicked that goal through Brian Royal.
Well, here's 2 of the terriers of the AFL, Platten and Libba. We've seen them on the bottom of the packs all day today. Both have had an excellent quarter. Platten dominated the first quarter with 10 possessions. Liberatore quiet. Then the roles were reversed with Libba absolutely dominating the second. And Johnny Platten, except for a goal, put in a pretty quiet quarter. This time it's Grant, who's been one of the sparks of Footscray this afternoon. Gives it to Wallace. Wallace goes long. Del Rey, there's no free kick being paid, so he will take the mark. And the Hawthorn players incensed that that wasn't a push out. But Hayden Kennedy says, fellas, I'll pay the mark.
Well, Langford can't believe it. He's saying, what's going on here? I was pushed out of the way. Del Rey taking a good fingertip mark in the end. Had a chance to kick his second goal.
So he's got the wind at his back, Danny Del Rey. Kicks a goal, and it's straight through the centre for his second. And isn't he happy? Footscray now lead by 7 points.
2 goals, 2 to Danny Del Rey, playing at full forward. He's had a fairly good year. He missed the first couple of matches when Footscray opted for Johnny Ballantyne. But he's now kicked 18 goals for the year. He came from Williamstown. He was picked up in the March draft in 1990. And he can play a bit, the boy. A very good left foot kick as well.
Seven-point lead now to the Bulldogs after the Hawks briefly hit the front at the start of this third quarter. Whitman. A high ball to centre wing. Not great for the forwards. Jarman might have been a bit of a push. Not paid. Takes the mark, plays on. Hudson left it behind for Toohey. They're getting back to help in defence. Footscray. Wallace. Hunter skirts around. Tripped over by Collins and will take the free kick. Mark Hunter centering to Wynd. Deer comes to spoil. Did well then, Deer, but Wynd goes off the ground. Collingwood very quiet after his state game on Tuesday night. Toohey to Atkins. Wide he goes. Oh, it was fumbled by Pritchard. Great chance for Kellett. Kellett leading the race, waiting for the ball to sit up for him. He hooks it back now. Well played by Nigel Kellett. The hand pass looking for Liberatore was intercepted. Condon. He looks for Platten. Wynd there again. Lawrence. Gee, headed a fair while. Crowd calling ball, but not on. Steve Wallace, a great hand pass to Liberatore. He steers the pass for Del Rey, and he's got it again.
He's leading well, Danny Del Rey at full forward. Tony Liberatore, a very good second quarter. Del Rey have a shot because he can kick the ball long distances. He's a very good kick of the football, Danny Del Rey.
4 marks for the game and 3 in the opening 9 minutes of this quarter. Danny Del Rey for goal number 3 and a break for the Bulldogs. Oh, poor kick. Oh, it just grazed the post. I thought it was way to the left. A lot closer than I thought.
Yeah, well, probably a lot better than it deserved, Drew, too, because it really wobbled off the boot. It's normally a very good kick of the drop punt, but on that occasion just didn't get it on the boot properly.
The Hawthorn skipper goes outside, down the outer wing. Atkins off the ground. He's looking forward now. Hawthorn with players to spare. Hawkins taps the ball over. But Hawthorn now back in attack. Comes to Mew. Mew's been solid all day. Goes on the outer wing looking for John Platten. Platten swamped by Liberatore. The ball's knocked over the boundary line. on the Footscray side of the Doug Hawkins wing.
Now, from that shot there, you'd have to say the two Brownlow medalists are playing on each other, but at centre bounces, it never looks like it.
They haven't been within cooey of each other in the middle. Lawrence wins the tap. Been slightly beaten today by WYND. Coleman coming into the game now. It's the ball to Callett. Callett kicks it long to Royal. And Royal, who was brought on in an inspirational move by Terry Wheeler at about the 20-minute mark of the second quarter, has turned this game around for Footscray.
Yes, he certainly has. Brian Royal playing in the forward pocket. I think his roving days are over. But as a permanent forward pocket, he still has that ability to kick plenty of goals. Coming in for his third.
So the best and fairest winner from 1983, Brian Royal, aims to kick Footscray's 8th goal. He starts at left and brings it back magnificently with the win. A great goal to Brian Royal. So Footscray now take the lead, 8 goals, 9. They're 14 points in front of Hawthorn.
Yes, well, they need to get him spurred on in this third quarter, of course, kicking with the breeze. 10 minutes gone and a 14-point advantage. Scotty WYND doing well at the centre square, giving Footscray first use to the ball. And Brian Royal playing very well in that forward pocket.
14-point lead to Footscray. WYND got a fingernail to that, but didn't clear the area. Tries to tow it out. It's tough in there to get a kick. If it's tough, Libba likes it. Atkins, but Allen for Hawthorn. Hasn't got out of the centre square yet, but here's a free kick. Footscray's way to Hunter. Unmarked is Baxter. Plenty of players haven't seen too much of their opponent today. Baxter up inside, half forward. Delray, almost a one-hander.
Oh, that could be a free against Langford. He was over the boundary line, but sometimes the umpire does pay that free kick if a player cannons into the opposition player's back.
Another chance for the Bulldogs to throw in inside 50 metres. Coleman wins it. Delray behind. Grant takes it. Goal coming up. Well, they're starting to get the value now they didn't get in the first quarter. And Footscray 9-9, Hawthorn 6-7.
Yes, good stuff from this very exciting young player, Chris Grant. 20-point advantage now to the Bulldogs. Chris Grant kicks his second. He's kicked 2 goals straight. And what a wonderful player he's been for Footscray, Chris Grant, since they picked him up. Picked up at 105th in the 88 national draft. And what a find he's been. He's an ideal coach's player. He just does everything right. He works hard. He's built himself up. Youngest player ever to kick over 50 goals in the season, Chris Grant. And he's carrying on that form.
Keep talking, Bernie. They've lost the ball second time today.
Well, someone's having a picnic behind those goals. They've taken 2 home now. There's the long arm of the law going to have a check out of this one, but they lost the ball earlier when they put the wrong ball back in. And this, as we said, Scotty WYND in this quarter getting right on top of Steve Lawrence. 5 clearances to Footscray and 0 to Hawthorn.
Bounced by David Howland. It's Lawrence and WYND. WYND takes it, taps it beautifully, taken by Baxter, who kicks it long. It's Morrissey and Royal. Royal been a dominant force since he came onto the ground midway through the second quarter and does well in the one-hand battle. Delray and Langford. Langford does well with the left with the handball. Platten, here's Collingwood. Collingwood goes forward, but there's no one at home for Footscray. And Chris Mew takes a safe mark for Hawthorn. It's his 4th mark for the afternoon, Mew. He's had a good battle with Glenn Coleman. He kicks to the outer side. The dead pocket usually when this wind is blowing at the Western Oval. He finds Andy Collins. Had a good game for the state on Tuesday night against WA. And has done quite well again this afternoon. He finds Pritchard. Darren Pritchard, one of Hawthorn's better players in the grand final last year when he picked up Matera. Once again, it's a big man battle. Ball comes to ground. And there's Collins again, who butters up. Ben Allen, who's been a fine player this afternoon. Platten, as always, on the bottom of the pack. Comes to Anderson. His handball goes astray. Wallace's kick was smothered. Wallace backs up again. Throw or handballs it out. Dean Anderson. Hawthorn mounting something here. They've got some runners. Anderson once again looks for Dunstall. It's Dunstall one out against Campbell. He's got the front spot. Hooks it back but not far enough. And the ball is out on the full, deep in Footscray's back pocket.
Hunter runs it up for the Bulldogs and kicks long to the centre of the ground. Collinuk needs to lift after a quiet first half. Across the ground to Baxter, and once again he has a very fleeting arrangement with his opponent. Up towards 50. Delray in front. He's been a focal point this quarter. Will take the free kick for the push in the back, Danny Delray. He's got Atkins in short. And Allen lagging behind Simon Atkins.
The midfielder's getting away at the moment for Footscray, Drew, especially Darren Baxter. He's getting right away from Jarman, his opponent. And there, Ben Allen, he could see that that kick might have been onto Simon Atkins and just really lumbered. Didn't really sprint to that contest at all.
Atkins, a beautiful handballer, but also a beautiful kick. This is out in the front of goals. Oh, what a mark by Delray. Interfered with and still took it. And nearly gripped the air out of the ball.
Yeah, a great mark, Danny Delray. And he's been all right at full forward today. You look at the other end of the ground, and Jason Dunstall's only kicked 1 goal. Danny Delray's kicked 2 goals, 3 including a poster. And that was a strong grab. Not easy for a forward, these conditions. But Delray doing the job for Footscray at full forward. Taken 5 marks. And this should be his 3rd goal.
An important kick. The margin is 20 points. It was always going to be a low-scoring day in this breeze. And the margin's now 26. Oh, he's missed it.
Oh, gee, that is a bad miss.
Gee.
Well, he's kicked 1 goal free in this 3rd quarter. Danny Delray, he'd kicked those 99 times out of 100 at training.
Well, the ball back into play. These two big men haven't left each other's side. This time it's Morrissey, the freak. Swings around on the right foot, but the ball's kicked straight up in the air, and Glenn Coleman takes a pretty easy mark. Coleman gets the ball going again. Comes to McPherson, who spears a kick looking for that man Hawkins, and Hawkins goes for the attempted handball.
Dougie, no good that one.
No, I thought he telegraphed that one a little bit, and Ayres was straight onto it. Ball at the back of the pack now. Hunter went the man, but it pays off. Ball comes to Wallace. Wallace goes forward. He's looking for Baxter. Really is starting to have a good quarter. Baxter kicks it long. It's Delray again, who appears to be too strong for Langford in those one-on-one battles. And having a look at those arms on Langford, it's hard to imagine anybody being too strong.
Well, I'd never ever think I'd ever hear anyone say that about Chris Langford getting out manoeuvred and out-bodied, but Danny Delray is very strong upper body and big around the hips, similar to Jason Dunstall.
Well, the boy from Williamstown will be lining up for his 3rd goal, and the arms say it all. Footscray now go on to 10 goals, 10-70. A commanding lead over Hawthorn, 6 goals, 7-43.
There's 27 points now to Footscray, and we're only 17 minutes into this 3rd quarter, and Danny Delray doing the bulk of the scoring for Footscray. He's kicked 3 goals in total, and 2 goals, 3 coming in this 3rd quarter. He could have easily kicked 4. 1 hit the post, and he missed 1 from about 15 metres out.
And still with nearly 10 minutes of wind-assisted time to go, this is a big break for Footscray. Atkins clears the centre square. Gowers on all fours. Good tackling. Mew dispossessed. Atkins in after it again. A thump up the ground by Mew's worth a kick, but straight to the opposition. McPherson's been a spare man in defence for Footscray. Out to the pocket. Hawkins and Ayres. Hawkins has lost a boot. And the ball over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. Hawkins has played at that end of the ground all day. He played in attack in the 1st and 3rd quarters and in defence in the 2nd. Coleman palms down, but only as far as Platten. Lawrence lumbers after it. Wynd tries to take him out. Wynd gets the ball. Well played, Scotty Wynd. Gained about 20 metres as well. They have a bit of a box on the 2 young ruckmen. And Tui comes in to sort that one out.
Yes, Wynd well on top of that duel in this 3rd quarter too. And I think a bit of blood pouring. Look at the blood pouring out of Steve Lawrence's eye.
Yes, he copped Wynd's boot.
Atkins, the pass is good for Delray. And Danny Delray is carving up Langford in this quarter.
I think the move's already been made there. I think McGuinness may be now back on Delray. And Chris Langford now has been moved out to pick up Chris Grant. Such was the impact that Danny Delray was having on the match in this 3rd quarter. But it's all starting in the middle with big Scotty Wynd
Steve Lawrence will have to come off with this blood pouring out of his cut on his head. And Delray lining up for his 4th goal, 3rd for this quarter. Oh, do you like the Bulldogs now? The margin is 33 points.
Yes, Danny Delray, a great quarter of football by him. 3 goals, 3 he's kicked for the term, 4 goals for the match. Chris Grant's kicked 1 goal. Steve Lawrence off the ground with that cut above his eye. And Brian Royal, who came on in the 2nd quarter, has kicked 3 goals, 2 coming in this quarter as well. So a 6-goal quarter by the Bulldogs and only 1 to Hawthorn.
So it's Jason Taylor now into the ruck for Hawthorn, but Wynd once again continues his dominance. Liberatore onto Atkins. Atkins with the long bomb. We saw him kick an enormous goal in the 1st quarter with a similar kick. Ball now with Morrissey onto the left foot. A bit of a scrubber kick, but it finds its target in Jarman. Jarman needs to lift. Baxter's been better this quarter. Jarman goes across the ground. Allen once again. Through comes the boot of Atkins. And a free kick's being paid Hawthorn's way.
Is that a kicking in danger decision, I think, Jared?
I think it
the
must
only
have
thing
been.
It could have been paid for.
Collins goes wide. Hawthorn haven't had the ball up this end too much in this quarter. McPherson's been good for Footscray.
Oh, in the back to McPherson. Oh, no. The umpire said it was over the line first, but surely McPherson, a big shove in the back.
Excellent stats from Steve McPherson. 18 possessions. Paul Deere, but cannot get past that man in Wynd. Stanfield on the left boot. Goes round the outer wing. And Ben Allen races the ball, but the ball wins and goes over the line and out of bounds.
Hit-outs now 24 to Footscray. Only 11 to Hawthorn. Scotty Wynd dominating this 3rd quarter.
As he did for Victoria in the 1st quarter and a half on Tuesday night, and that's when the game was won. Wynd wins again. Atkins. Liberatore in after this. A wrestle at ground level, but Allen wins it. Pritchard, little hand pass to Platten. Hudson inside the 50. Now Paul Hudson, he kicked 2 goals at the start of the 2nd quarter to get Hawthorn back on level terms.
Oh, free kick against Gowers. Come on, he's paid it.
Paid the mark to Dunstall, but Gowers.
Oh, that was interference, Jared. That was one of our pet subjects the other week. The player putting his hands on the opposition player's shoulders and getting a lift.
And he's played on quickly with the kick up towards the goal line. Don't know whether that was the right move. And even though the mark has been taken here by Anderson, I don't like his angle. And there was Dunstall right in front, 25 metres out.
Yes, well, he's not far enough out to be on a really severe angle, I don't think. Well, he's taking him around a little bit. So I think you're right, Drew. Probably wasn't a good option there.
The man who's led Hawthorn's goal kicking the last 6 years, giving one away from there. But Anderson doesn't let him down and kicks the goal. Boy, do Hawthorn need that. 11-10 to 7-7. Bulldogs in front.
There's the margin now 27 points in Footscray's favour. And oh, that free kick, well, it should have been paid against Gowers. The first occasion he had his hands on the opposition player's shoulders. He was up early and then he didn't even touch the ball in the contest anyway when Jason Dunstall took that mark. So one that got away.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one, Bernie. Ball back in the centre now, and it's Paul Deere. An emergency move from Alan Joyce. He's been brought on for the 3rd option for the ruck. Collins gets the ball forward. Bernard Tui takes the bump, but the umpire's paid a holding the man decision, and it'll go much to the anger of the Western Oval crowd to Jason Taylor.
That was a correct decision because Taylor was grabbed by the Guernsey.
Well, Taylor pumps the ball forward. They need to mount something now, Hawthorn. They've got a couple of numbers, but the man with the glove sockers the ball off the ground. And it goes out in the bounds, and good play there from Matthew Mansfield, who got a run midway through the 1st quarter when Peter Foster came off the ground. So it's Wynd and Taylor, but the ball comes over the back. Atkins reads it well. The man with the quickest hands in the business gets the ball forward, but the ball now out in the full. And Andrew Gowers, the tallest wingman at 191 centimetres, will take the kick. Umpire calls play on. Why, I'm not sure. Collins, Platten now with Liberatore right, wearing him like a second jumper. They have tightened up on each other now, Bernie.
Yes, that was a good tackle by Tony Liberatore, leading the tackles in the competition, of course, as he always does. Over the last 3 years, he's been right up at the top of the leaders board with those tackles. A real hard worker. And Johnny Platten also up the top of the leaders board also.
So Wynd and Taylor again. Taylor wins, but this time it's Tui, who's having a good quarter. Hooks the ball round. Grant drops it. Probably what he could have taken. Under some pressure from Langford, though. This time it comes down to Hunter with a good handball to Callett. And what speed he go. One of the quickest players on the wing. Colin, he's got Coleman free. Now Coleman can run in and goal this. Has to be a good kick. But he's pulled it to the left.
Could be a free kick there. The umpire... No, the umpire letting that one all clear. The point does count, but Coleman went right back on that kick instead of really attacking that and going for it. That was a wasted opportunity for Footscray.
Well, Doug Hawkins got buried then right onto the kick-off line. He's got the whitewash down the side of his face to prove it. Here's a free kick. It's coming Footscray's way.
Going to Delray. He's had a very good quarter, Danny Delray, coming in for his 12th kick. He has taken 7 marks.
Tony Hall back on the ground for Hawthorn. Not too sure why you'd ever have him off. Kick by Delray to the goal square. Comes to the back. Chance for Grant. Close, but just offline. Chris Grant, 2 goals, 2. It's 78 to 49. It's a long way back for the Hawks, even though they had the breeze in the last quarter.
Yes, it's been 11 shots to 2 in this quarter. Footscray's favour.
Well, Ayres gives that one a bit of a roost, but it goes straight up in the air and the wind holds it up. The ball taken over the boundary line by Tony Liberatore with a little bit of assistance from Anthony Condon. An important passage of play now for both sides. One gets the feeling that if Footscray could kick a couple more quick ones, they may have enough on the board. Whitman now. Sorry, that was Morrissey. Morrissey with the long kick. Good spoil there. McPherson at ground level. Jason Taylor, number 52 in the pick in this year's draft. Swings it round. Tony Hall, fresh man on the ground with some fresh legs. Goes with the left foot, but there's nobody there for Hawthorn. The race is on. Dunstall comes back out. Kick off the ground seems to be the order of the day. Condon throws the arm up. Could have been penalised, but no, he's been given the free kick.
Oh, look, he stuck the arm out and tried to fend off. The Footscray player's not happy with that decision.
Well, it was a little bit bewildering because I thought it may have been against Condon.
Well, I agree. The umpires, I don't think, have had a great afternoon.
Well, Condon looking for Dunstall, and why wouldn't you? He doesn't let him down. It's a fine kick and a good mark.
Well, a bewildering decision, that one from David Howlett. A player, if he's about to be tackled, he fends off an opposition player. You can palm a player off by pushing him in the chest, but once that gets above shoulder height, as he did on that occasion, I think it should have been a free kick the other way around.
Well, Jason Dunstall will have to start this one left and bring it round to the right with the wind. He does that. Look at the wind just bring that round. A perfect kick from Dunstall, who kicks his second for the afternoon. And it's certainly one that was needed by Hawthorn. Footscray now 11-12. Still comfortably lead Hawthorn 8-7-55.
Yes, that goal taking Jason Dunstall 1 goal ahead of Tony Lockett in their career tallies. Jason Dunstall now has kicked 712 goals. Tony Lockett, of course, 711. So it's amazing how they've ran side by side throughout their careers.
And Dunstall now 70 goals for the season. Next best Lockett, who didn't play yesterday, 54. Mew out of the middle for Hawthorn. Another goal for the Hawks, and they might be close enough at 3/4 time. We have just over a minute remaining to the last change. Condon goes back to Deere. Kick by Deere up to the 50. Footscray have the numbers. Hunter spoils. Oh, great tackle, and down goes Hall. Swept up by Liberatore. The man from Fish Creek, Stanfield. Over the wing, looking for Coleman or Grant. Off hands to Mew. He was belted down by Colin, and the umpire saw that. Going to be a free kick to Mew.
Well, surely it's upfield, isn't it, Drew? That'd be my understanding of that.
Well, just about in the act of kicking. I don't know whether it was after the kick.
Oh, well. OK. We'll give the umpire the benefit of the doubt on that occasion, but never mind Mew to take it from where the infringement occurred.
Margin 23 points. The Hawks would love another goal before 3/4 time. WYND juggles but can't mark. Atkins Wallace paddles further afield for Kellett. A bit of a fumble there. Kolonyuk in. Kolonyuk's hand pass. Stanfield crashes through the pack. Atkins, bit slow. Collins gets him. Langford off the ground. Still a chance for the Hawks to get another one.
Oh,
McPherson buried. Got to be in the back. Free kick, Steve McPherson. Maybe Footscray can get another one. 15 seconds remaining to three-quarter time. Margin 23 points.
I don't think he realised. Of course, he wouldn't realise with only just over 10 seconds remaining on the clock.
This needs to be a mark within kicking distance. Coleman off hands to Royal. Still a bit of a chance. Atkins, the hand pass out wide. Kellett, time running down. Kellett kicks. Oh, and misses. And there's the siren for three-quarter time. And the margin is 4 straight kicks at the last change. 24 points the difference.